to the 90s Kid Library podcast. I'm your host, Jared Goodman. I'm a writer, professor, collector, and librarian of a pretty extensive home library of 90s media. I started this podcast to learn more about my favorite books, movies, and TV shows from this era, and today we have an extra special guest. You may know her from the Goosebumps TV series, where she played Hannah in the critically acclaimed episode The Ghost Next Door. She also had notable appearances in other nostalgic favorites, such as Are You Afraid of the Dark and Degrassi, and here she is doing her very first podcast, Nicole Dicker.
I started when I was 3. I began in modeling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I have 2 other siblings, and all 3 of us were in modeling. Um, and then it turned to commercials. So I was in a lot of commercials, and then there was just this natural progression into television. And actually, Goosebumps was my very first like TV show.
Right, right. Yeah, I was going to mention that too. That's so cool. Were you performing at school at all? Were you doing any stage stuff?
Yeah, actually, my training was more in theater. So my mom put me into theater classes and singing classes. And in my elementary school, I was in all of the plays and musicals. I actually went to an art high school, but it's all mostly theater based. And it's funny because there was an incident that happened when I was little, and I came in, I had scuffed my knee riding my bike, and I just like collapsed to the floor in this big drama and like crying and grabbing my knee. And my mom was like, "That's why she's in acting." Like, so there was always this theme around being dramatic or just having big expression and which really works for theater. But it's actually the opposite for television. The more you internalize the expression, the better you are received on television. So for me to have a really expressive face and really big expression, big feeling, it was a big challenge and a learning curve for me being trained in theater to pull it back and to internalize it enough that it was subtly transmitted onto the screen.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's so cool. That's so cool that you were able to be that versatile at such a young age too. Did you play any instruments as well?
mostly vocal, singing. I played a bit of piano when I was younger. I wish I maybe stuck with piano a little bit longer, but I didn't like my teacher, so
Oh, yeah. Those types of things have to be in order for you to actually continue. You have to like your teacher, have to maybe have some extra motivation, your parents pushing you a little bit,
exactly.
perhaps. Yeah.
I liked playing around, and when I learned a song, I enjoyed playing, but I didn't. That inspiration didn't carry on past this individual teacher. So, but I've considered picking up instruments like guitar. Now, actually, I actually do sound healing, so I work with crystal bowls and other instruments like that, and I sing in that way. So
Oh,
I
cool.
am, I do the music. Yeah, just not in the traditional sense, I guess.
Right, right. But you're still tapping into those skills and maybe your training from when you were younger, perhaps. Yeah.
Still performing in that sense, right? Just to a
Yeah.
different audience, more local, small scale.
Right, right. That's awesome. That's so cool. So your first, like you were saying, your first big gig, you can say, was Goosebumps. You starred in one of the most highly rated episodes of the series. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. A lot of people really love this episode.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Would love to
So,
know about the episode that they love so much. But
well, so yeah, we'll absolutely get into that because it's so different
mm,
when it comes to Goosebumps. It's a very different kind of Goosebumps episode. So the episode name is The Ghost Next Door. It was actually a two-parter, so there were 2 episodes technically. It was the third and fourth episodes of season 4, which aired September 28th and 29th of the year 1998. You play Hannah Fairchild, someone who suspects her neighbor is a ghost, until later she finds out that, spoiler alert, she's the actual ghost. How did you get this role? I imagine you auditioned.
yes, definitely. Yeah. Um, so the year prior, I loved Goosebumps. I watched it all the time, and you have to be 12 to be in the show.
Oh,
Well, the year prior, I was aware that they were doing some additions, and I was like, oh, I can't wait till I'm 12. Like, I really want this opportunity. So when my my time came around and I got to audition, it was actually, I think, the last year they were filming the series.
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I got in just at the nick of time. But, I was fresh as far as television was concerned. So I was
Hmm.
really nervous that, I have no prior experience. And actually, the director, he was wonderful. And I can't recall his name right now. Maybe you can help me.
Oh, Don McCutcheon, is that
Ah,
right?
there we go. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But yeah, so I mean, do you remember anything about the audition process?
Oh man. That audition specifically, not in detail, but you know, I essentially when they like you or they feel you're a candidate for the role, they'll keep you behind. They'll be like, okay, go back in the waiting room and um so it's an interesting process. So sometimes they'll do that if they really like you and they're like, yes, you're for the role. Other times they don't say a peep to you. They send you home and you have absolutely no idea how you did. You don't know. And then you wait.
Mhm.
And you only hear back if they liked you. So it's one of those experiences that, yeah, I think really shapes your self-esteem as a child. I have some critiques on that. Like I wish a little bit of feedback was given, even if it's like a something to work on the next time, I think would be really helpful for kids. Um, but I do remember, um, I do remember feeling really nervous and being called in to go in a second time and thinking, "Oh my goodness, this is such a good thing." It was like really one of my first auditions for TV. Um, so yeah, I nailed it. And the director, I remember on set saying to me, I took a chance with you and I'm so glad I did it. And it meant a lot. Yeah, it was a really great boost for me in the beginning of my TV career. So, and it being a double episode felt really special as well. The lead role in a double episode for your first, film gig is pretty awesome. So,
Of course, of course. And so usually they film over like 5 days for these things. Was that the case for this? Was it two-parter? Was it longer?
longer. Yeah, it was more of a 2 week session.
Oh, really?
So,
Wow.
yeah, well, 10 days. So 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just remember the first day being on set and then the first scene and just so being in my head. So, just like all the people, all the cameras, and I mean, similar to commercials, but very different, the feel, the intensity is very different. And I wasn't doing well in the first scene. I wasn't. I was so in my head. I was so nervous. And just the way they film things, right? It's like the first scene that I shot was realizing my neighbor's a ghost and I'm running into my bedroom and I'm having this little panic and I'm pacing in my room and this is like the first scene. So, there's it's just yeah, it really had me realize in this field of acting, it's like you have to be able to get into a zone like that. There's no build up. Where in theater, it's like you're playing a role. It's all live action. It's like it's a continuation. You can build on the emotion of the moment, or you're doing a monologue and you're really in it. But to just jump into a scene all of a sudden, yeah, it was a real stretch for me in that moment. But I took a second. The director gave me a pep talk, and like I grounded, and I just connected to what I was to be doing, and I was able to like pull it off. But I'll never forget when I watched the episode, and I have two kids now, and
Mhm.
they wanted to see what I've been in before, and so I just every time I see that scene, that's the memory. Like that was the first scene, and then I can see how my acting in that episode evolves as the days go on and the scenes go on. As I become more comfortable with being in that experience.
Yeah, it sounds like it was maybe just nerves that had to be shed in order for you to tap into this role. And like you were saying, I really wanted to bring this up, but when I was doing research for this interview, I really was shocked that this was your first TV gig. I really didn't know that. I thought when I watched this episode that you were just doing this for a long time. And I guess in a way you were with commercials and other projects, but I really was impressed. Being so young but so effective in displaying these different emotions. There's scenes where you go from like feelings of terror to humor and then back again. In one of the first scenes, you're roaming the neighborhood at night, and you run into this Danny character, the new neighbor, and then you start joking with them, and then he disappears. You go back to being scared again. So to me, it came off as you being like, "Oh, you've done this before. You know what you're doing." So it is funny to me now that you are saying that you were so nervous.
Well, thank you. I'm glad it comes across that way. Fake it
And
till you make it, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, but it also and it does make sense to me too, this background you gave me, the fact that you just maybe are more of a theatrical person, especially when you were a kid, that you were very dramatic. So that I think that did help, even though you also had to rein it in a little bit because it's TV.
Mhm.
I want to talk about the very first scene of the episode. And again, I don't know the last time you watched this, so how clear your memory is of it, but hopefully I can jog your memory a little bit. But I mean, the first scene is shot really well, I think. You wake up in bed hearing a noise downstairs. You walk down, you look out the window, there's some shadowy figure outside. And then after this, you get the phone and you call the police. But as you're talking to them, you're walking around the house. And it
I
looks like the
remember.
camera, right? It looks like the camera person's following you. And it also looks like it's one really long shot. So if you make any mistakes, they'd have to do it over again. So again, just I was just very impressed. Did you have any memories of having to shoot that? Did you make a lot of mistakes?
I think at that point I was already really deep into filming and I had a great momentum going with the character. So no, I felt like that scene was fluid for me. It was a pretty fluid scene. I do remember all the different points that I had to like marks I had to land and then making it into the living room where the brick gets thrown through the window and the shriek, the drop, the run. Um, Obviously, there was no brick thrown through the window in the scene, but yeah, no, I remember that being pretty fluid for me.
Yeah, because the camera person actually they're following you, and if you make a misstep, then they're not going to be able to catch you, or you might be able to run into them. Who knows? But yeah, so there was a camera person following you around. Is that kind of how you remember it?
Yeah, and they always tape the floor, so once you do the dance a couple times, you know what you're doing. So
Right, right. That does make sense. Yeah. Also, you're playing piano in this episode. So you had some experience. Like, were you actually playing, or did they just have you pretend to play?
yes, yes, I knew roughly, what my fingers had to do, so that was good
Right.
enough.
Yeah, because I mean, when I inspected it a little more closely now that I'm an adult, it looks like you are playing chords to some extent, but maybe you're not playing what we're hearing. So I imagine that they maybe had you just pretend and filled it in later. So you also worked with Cody Jones in this episode. So Cody Jones played the neighbor, the new neighbor who just moved in. You think he's a ghost. His name's Danny. And he's kind of a it's funny to say this, but he's kind of a veteran actor when it comes to Goosebumps because he was in the first episode, The Haunted Mask.
Mhm.
Um,
Which is
and
unusual. They usually don't cast again.
right,
So, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and so I mean, he had done this before. There was also another actor who appeared in a separate Goosebumps episode, Dov Tiefenbach. He was in an episode Bad Hair Day. So here you are with these other actors who've already appeared in Goosebumps. What was it like working with them?
So I really enjoyed working with Cody. Like we hit it off pretty well and there was a lot of like banter and fun and play and we worked really well together. There's some good synastry. Like it worked. Dub was like one of the star on the set to me, right? I've seen him in other things. And so it was like, wow, I felt honored, I guess, to be working with someone that I had already seen a lot on television, and in Goosebumps before. So that was fun. I didn't really spend too much time with him. Like he had his scenes, a lot of them were with Cody, so we weren't on set often at the same time. Um, but yeah, no, I was gonna ask if you were gonna interview Cody on your series as well.
Oh, I would love to get in touch with him. I actually haven't tried reaching out to him yet. But yeah, that'd be really fun. I'd love to talk to him, especially since he was in several episodes.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're hanging out with like, other kids your age on set between takes. I mean, were there any fun like hijinks or anything going on of that nature, or were you just chatting, hanging out?
Really, it was mostly Cody and I. There weren't many other characters in the show. Uh, so yeah, like in between scenes, you're doing homework. But it's always fun in the trailer when you're sitting doing your homework and you're not really doing your homework because it's really hard to focus for like 20 minutes and get much work done. So, you're going to the craft truck, you're getting some snacks, and then you're, doing a little bit of work, but mostly joking around and having a good time. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to be on set as a kid. It really, really is.
I can imagine, yeah. And I was talking to somebody else, a couple other child actors who had worked on Goosebumps, and they told me that they did more homework on Goosebumps than they ever had to do before. Like there was more tutoring or there was just more work for them to do. And they said maybe because it's a scholastic production, but
Interesting.
I don't know if did you have that experience or no?
Don't really recall exactly how the school component was for me there. I know that like there's tutors, yes, and you have, assigned work from school that you have to get completed. I know that like overall my schoolwork was completed, but I know for myself like there was a lot more fun that was had in those trailers than anything else personally. And I'm looking at like all the sets I'd been on as a kid. The theme is the same. As far as like Goosebumps very specifically, I don't recall the schoolwork component being a strong memory for me.
Okay.
I know what happened, but
Yeah.
there was other more exciting things going on
Oh,
that
of course, of course. And I want to talk about this mysterious shadowy figure.
Mhm.
There's this figure in the episode follows you around and teaches you how to be a ghost. And it looks like the shadow effect, at least, was added probably in post-production. But was there somebody actually there on set, like playing this character that you had to look at and interact with?
Yeah, there was someone I believe all in black. Just for eye line and eyesight, and you can see under the shadow that there's like a figure there. And
Right.
yeah, they didn't say the lines were said off camera, so someone else was speaking the lines, but that person was dressed in black.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So it was really just a stand-in almost.
exactly, yeah. Yeah,
Gotcha.
there's no shadow character like hired for the role. I think it was just a voiceover at some point put in. um yeah.
Yeah, when I looked up the character on IMDb, there's two people credited as being like the shadow person. One of them is Alex Follis, I think. If I'm pronouncing it correctly, I'm not sure. And then the person providing the voice is Diego Matamoros. I don't know if that person was on set or maybe they came later.
No, I believe I remember it being a female voice saying the lines.
Oh, really? Oh.
Maybe the continuity or like first AD, or yeah, I'm not sure who was responsible for that role officially. Yeah.
That's so interesting. And I mean, speaking about the special effects, it seems like you did have some special effects work to do. Your character did anyway. In
Mhm.
some shots, you're like walking through people, you're walking through doors. There's like a wooden beam that comes, like, falls through you. Did they do anything special to get these shots? Like, did you have to film in front of a green screen or anything like that?
There were some green screen shots. I remember the one scene where I walked through Cody on the front lawn of my house when I realized I was a ghost in that moment. And they did have a green screen there. Yeah, but for the other scenes, like with the mailman in the mail truck, they had like strings and stuff, like having, that stuff elevate and lift. I remember that. But as far as the other effects go, like I can't recall very specifically what was done for them, but I do remember a green screen being involved
So they would have a green screen like on set, or did you have to go somewhere else to film those parts?
on set.
It was
Yeah.
on set. Oh, cool. Oh, wow. Oh, that's so interesting. And there are also like some creepier scenes in the episode. There's a dark cellar where you're being chased by this shadowy figure. There's your burned down house. Can you remember a time when you were scared at all when filming, or maybe you were too old at this point to be scared by it?
No, it's hard to be afraid when there's so many people on set.
Yeah.
So many lights, so many things going on. It's a lot to just stay focused in the little world that they've created for you on camera, right? Because there's so much behind the camera. Um, no, what I found really fascinating about the transformation of the house, specifically the house that was mine, was such a beautiful home, and then just what they were able to do to it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that. So this was the same house. So it was very like pristine looking, very homey, and then they made it look like it burned down. So I actually was wondering if that was two different sets, but it looks like you're telling me it's the same set.
All of the scenes were shot in the home,
Wow.
and home across the street, all of Cody's home, all of those scenes, the cellar, the basement, all of that was shot in the home.
Yeah, that's not typical because usually they would have like the exterior shots filmed separately than the interiors, but oh wow, okay. That probably made it a little easier. They didn't have to travel as much.
Definitely. Pretty impressive that they could work with what was already present in the home and shoot given, the parameters and make the scenes work based on what they had instead of like curating the set to the script, which is what after that was used to. This was my first time on set. So I'm like, oh, this is how it's done. And then I realized, like, no, actually, yeah, a lot of it is done in studio.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking more about this episode and filming it, do you have any like you had already mentioned how that first scene for you was really challenging. Do you have any other vivid memories of working on this episode that jump out at you?
Oh, that's a good question. Who was the character that played the mailman again?
Ooh, Neil Crone, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, he's a famous Canadian actor.
Oh, was he? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I think he was in another episode. I do remember that. So do you have any fun memories working with him specifically? I mean, those were fun scenes for sure.
Yeah, I think um getting to witness him in action, like him and his character and his professionalism and he's just so comfortable. I was just really impressed working with him. It was neat to watch him. To me, he was like he's a veteran in the industry and he's just so confident. It was just so easy. He just made it so easy. And yeah, I just remember like having admiration towards him and being like, wow, again, just feeling so honored just filming with him. Um, Someone that I've seen on TV and that, as a kid, you're just like, wow. So, no, I think overall, I felt after being on set for 2 weeks, like I cried leaving the set. It was so
Yeah.
hard. You're in this alternative world where you are like treated like royalty, and it's everyone is so involved. It's like this incredible community creation, and everybody is so involved, so committed. You're there long hours, everyone's giving it their all. Yeah, there was this thrill of being on set, and I really enjoyed it. And it was hard to go. It was hard to say goodbye to the cast and crew. And yeah, lots of tears were shed by me. And it was just a really meaningful experience overall that made me excited for more in the television world.
Did you get to keep anything from the set?
I did clothing usually,
Oh,
wardrobe.
really?
Yeah. Yeah, they'll let you pick some wardrobe after, which was a lot of fun. Um, Just thinking if there's anything
Was it
else.
that like that flannel you were wearing throughout the episode? Did you get to keep that?
Um, I know I wore that one like pretty much the entire time. The pants I got to keep.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think the flannel wasn't my style.
Yeah, yeah.
So it really wasn't like what I would wear to school, but the shoes and the pants I got to keep. So,
I don't know
yeah.
what it was with Goosebumps. It must have been whoever was in charge of the wardrobe, but a lot of the female child actors were dressed like tomboyish. Um,
hmm
it might have just maybe because it was the 90s as well, and that was just the fashion. I don't know. I do notice that.
And the hairstyle, like one of the things I was challenged with how they did my hair. Like, oh my God, it's not quite straight, it's not quite curly, it's just a weird wave. Yeah, very tomboy, very tomboy.
Yeah.
Um, and I got teased a lot for that episode. A lot.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, it was going into, so I shot it over grade 7 and 8, so over that summer. Um, and then coming into grade 8 when the episode was being aired, and yeah. And maybe that's why I don't remember doing schoolwork, because I think it was shot over the summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was shot over the summer. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. So going into grade 8 when the episode aired, uh, I got teased so much for it.
Oh, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like one of those double edges, right? Like I was teased for commercials all through elementary school, but then it's like, maybe not everyone sees your commercial, but like all the kids watch Goosebumps. We don't have many alternatives in the 90s, right? It's like
Yeah,
a few channels, everyone's watching them, and Goosebumps was one of those shows. So it's just like all of a sudden everybody knows who you are in a
right.
moment. And it's a lot. It's a lot as a kid, especially middle school. Um, being 12 and being
So
in everyone's sight, it's an interesting experience.
I mean, you're saying you were teased quite a bit. Were there any people that just suddenly wanted to be your friend? Or did you get that experience as well? Like
Um,
because they view you now as like somebody who's on TV and
I think they're in, no, not so much. Not in the same way. I think if anything, there's people that are just envious, they want to be close to you, mostly out of like jealousy, unfortunately. I think I've never actually experienced it in that way, where people wanted to be my friend because I was on television, but also I'm very particular about who I am close with anyways, and I don't like inauthenticity, so it's like I don't want fan vibes either. So it's like I'm a real person, I want real relationships, and if I feel that kind of dynamic, like I'm not interested in engaging. So, and being more shy, I guess, I'm more reserved. I think people are extra want to be like poke at you too, right? Um, yeah, it's funny. I'm in theater, I'm in film and television, but in my own personal world, I'm not super extroverted.
right.
So it's an interesting push-pull inside of you where you really enjoy the experience of being on set, but then you don't really want to like stand in front of the class and have everyone, look at you. And yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah,
that is a bit tough, a bit of a challenge to reconcile those two things.
Mhm.
Did it change at all once you went into high school? Did you say you went to an arts high school? So I imagine there's probably other students who are in the industry, so it's not as unusual.
So actually, no one was in the industry in my school. There was a lot of kids that were just really interested in theater. Like I said, it was a theater focused. So there wasn't even much film training at all. Um, Yeah, so it was like music, art, and drama, and dance. So there was the four arts being offered, and there was no one in the industry there with me, so I was
Oh.
alone.
Oh no.
I mean, it changed in the way that I guess people less cared if you were on television. Yeah, I would say that my drama teacher didn't like it because I'd be missing a lot of school. So
Oh, hmm.
he wanted me to be involved in the theater at school, but I couldn't. I couldn't commit to those things. So, he was less impressed.
Oh no. That's
Yeah.
strange because a lot of people who go into theater, I mean, they maybe they would be happy just doing stage productions for the rest of their lives, but I think many of them do also have an interest in appearing on TV, doing movies. Um, but yeah, it doesn't seem like the appreciation was there for TV and film in your high school.
Yeah, and maybe that's just, my experience overall. I know I went to the School of the Arts in Mississauga, but there was a School of the Arts in Etobicoke. It was just a bit too far for me, but a lot of my peer actor friends went to that high school, and they were very much more open to kids in film and everything. It was just mine. I think I was just the first, and I don't know. Maybe it's just the teachers during those years were kind of against it. I don't know. They had their own stuff going on. But
Maybe they were a little jealous. Maybe they wanted to be in TV.
no, there's always that possibility. But I just feel overall, when it came to my acting career, there was this overarching sense of like just people being jealous and having a difficult time being genuine or authentic when they know that you're on TV. Like something comes up for them. It's really interesting programming. So that's been my experience with being in the industry. And so when you are in that world, you feel most at home when you're on set, of course, right? With other actors and doing the thing that you enjoy. Um, yeah, so I always looked forward to returning and getting out
Yeah.
of school and getting out of
Of
school.
course, of course. I don't recall you having to do too many stunts. Was there anything like that going on? I know Cody had a stunt double at one point when his bike fell over into the trash cans, and you can actually see there's another actor who's falling there.
Remember that scene? Yep.
Yep. But was there anything like that for you? Did you have to do anything that was potentially dangerous or?
I don't think so. Nothing stands out for me that I can recall. Just replaying the episode in my.
There's an ending where a house is on fire. You're rescuing Cody from a closet, but I imagine again this is probably fake smoke and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's dry ice usually.
right, a fog machine
Yeah.
of some kind. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, no, no, nothing like that for me.
Okay, well that's good. That's a good thing. Like we were saying at the top of our conversation here, this is a very unusual episode for Goosebumps because it's actually kind of sad. Goosebumps is usually never sad. It usually leans more into the humor and some scariness and so forth, but it's never really sad except for this episode. I mean, the main character is a ghost who died in a house fire years ago. There's this shadowy figure who's trying to basically kill your friend Danny. You end up saving his life, and that allows you to reunite with your family in the afterlife. When you eventually saw this episode, I mean, what were your feelings about it? Did you enjoy it or?
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I never really looked at it through that lens of it being different than other episodes. I felt perhaps, yeah, it was less haunting, scary. Like it was scary. I know the shadow figure was definitely a scary thing. But yeah, you're right. Like the theme of the story was definitely more of a heart-centered one of like loss of family, and not being aware as well that like I am a ghost and that confusion piece and where is my family and yeah. No, I saw it more of like as definitely being the hero and being on a mission, like you can't go to the afterlife until you save this boy's life.
Mhm.
And that was fun. It was a fun character to play, to be the heroine in a double episode of Goosebumps felt pretty special.
Absolutely, of course, of course. Yeah, I was like I was saying as well, this is one of the more popular episodes, and if you look at the comments on the YouTube videos that have been uploaded of this episode, there's a lot of people just saying like, "Oh, this is one of my favorite episodes. It's so sad and it's so sweet and all of these things." And it's just not the types of adjectives that you hear about a Goosebumps episode. So,
Mm.
so in that way, I think that's what makes it a little extra special. And really, I'm just so again so shocked that this is your first TV gig because you were really, really good in this, and the way that you are able to, express sadness and fear and humor and being 12 years old and able to do this is just mind-boggling to me.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You're your worst critic, so just remember watching it and then just, picking it apart in my own mind, like, if only I had, and um, but I guess that's natural. There's like that inner critic in all of us. And so it's really nice to hear that. And that
Oh,
everyone loves
yeah.
the episode. That feels great too.
So, I mean, I have two kids. I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I know they're younger, but and I love them to pieces. They're very talented in a lot of ways, but as soon as you give them instructions, especially if they did something really funny or exciting, and then you get the camera out, they just don't do it anymore. I think that's what makes it a little more impressive to me now as a parent, seeing these child actors just be so phenomenal in performing. You said you had brothers and sisters who were modeling. Did they get into acting as well?
Commercials,
Just the
but
commercials?
that's as far as it went for them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I imagine maybe there's just something in your genes then that allowed you to do this.
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what it is. I guess maybe it's a great imagination.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes
It's
sense to
just
me.
in your imagination and make it real. Definitely helps. And I look back now and I left the industry at 25 and yeah, it's one of those parts of my life that I don't really explore very often, to be honest. It really feels like another life ago. Um, and I don't really even talk about it to friends or like people will know me for several years and not even know I was ever in film and television. So it's definitely not a part of my world anymore. But having two young boys, well, 9 and 13, and my younger one, I just look at him and he's so cute, and I just think like, oh, he would do so well in the industry. And my older son, he has a best friend who's in film,
Oh,
and
cool.
he's a producer, and so there. I think at one point she was like, if the boys want to get in, if they want to get in. And I'm just thinking, huh, hmm. I mean, it's so much easier to do auditions nowadays. You just do it on camera and you send it in, and there's no driving into Toronto 3 times a week, getting stuck in rush hour for hours.
True.
Um, it's a different world now. Just not having to audition in front of people and in front of a camera, your parent or your home, like it's just the pressure is so different. I feel like, I wonder how far I would have gotten if that was the case. Auditioning was really hard. It was very challenging for me. I just knew like if I got on set, like if I just got on set, it's just, there's this different sense. You're not being um, well, it's being judged, critiqued, but it's like there's a competing component too, and it's like it's hard to get out of your head sometimes for auditions. It's like doing tests, it's like I'm never good at doing tests at school.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think when it comes to being believable as an actor, it really comes down to being able to just be really present with your inner experience and be able to shut out everything else around you. And I think being an introvert's really helpful because you're used to pulling back into your own world. So maybe being introverted enabled me to get into character and feel authentically what the character was feeling or supposed to feel.
Yeah, yeah, being more introverted, you would have maybe a little more access to your own inner life, your own inner emotions, because you spend more time with yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. And you're mentioning you have kids, boys, 9 and 13 years old, and you had them watch this episode, is that correct?
Yes.
So what did they think of it?
I mean, they're super impressed that, my mom's on TV and we can Google her name and all those things. And yeah, but again, I don't talk about it much, so they don't really talk about it much. They don't bring it up to their friends or anything. They thought it was really neat to watch, but I haven't really shown them everything I've been in. Oh, there was a Disney movie, True Confessions, that I
Yes,
was in.
with
That.
Shia LaBeouf and
Yes.
I can't remember the lead who played True, but yeah.
We just watched it actually, maybe a few months ago, because it was on the Disney Channel, and they're like, my younger one found it, and he's like, "Mom, aren't you in this? We have to watch it." And he was like so excited. It was really sweet. And it was nice. It was nice to share in those experiences with them and get to see another life that their mom was involved
Yeah.
in.
So I do want to talk about Are You Afraid of the Dark? So this is like the other major horror series for kids of the 90s. And you were in an episode of this as well. It was the second episode of the sixth season, Tale of the Virtual Pets.
Mhm.
In this episode, there are these virtual pets, very reminiscent of Tamagotchis or Gigapets of the 90s. Your character, Kate, is resistant to new technology to the point where you won't even use a pen. Like, that's too advanced for you, so you have to use a pencil and you keep mentioning it. And even when you have to sharpen it, you use a manual sharpener, not an electric one. Um, it's I was wondering, like, as I'm watching this, you must have had a Tamagotchi or a Gigapet. Did you have
Yes.
anything like that? Yeah. Which one did you
Who
have?
didn't who didn't have one?
Yeah,
I had a little dinosaur character. Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely had a Tamagotchi. It was just like the typical traditional one, but I recently got Tamagotchis for my daughters because it's like making a comeback now. They're selling new ones. And they got like really into it for a few weeks, so that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. At one point, I think I was trying to find something like that for them because it was a neat thing. It's like the old tech is just it's more wholesome, that's for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would happily replace their other devices with our tech.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's not quite as addictive as like an iPad or something like that.
Yeah, not as
Um,
engaging.
right. But in the episode anyway, that it is very addictive, I guess. So these virtual pets, they're consuming everybody's time, and there's actually a funny kind of message, I guess, you can draw from this because they're becoming so addictive that they end up getting like beamed into the device, and now they're like held prisoner by it. So to me, it sounds like I don't know, a message saying that, oh, you can get like shackled to your smartphones or your electronic devices
Yeah.
if you let them consume you. So I thought that was kind of a funny
All
takeaway.
sucking.
Yeah. The actual like device that was there as the virtual pet looked like a little cube, a little box. Did it have
Yeah.
like, do you remember that? Did it have like a light in it or something? Like what was it exactly?
It was just a prop, empty, real no function other than yeah, just to be the prop. Yeah, I don't think there was any electrical components to it at all.
Sometimes you are looking at it and it looks like there's a light on your face, but maybe that was light coming from another source. I don't know.
I can't recall. Maybe that was put in after. I'm just trying to think. Hmm. I don't remember that detail. Sorry.
No, no, that's all right. That's okay. And it's just such a fun episode. You're the hero in this as well. You end up saving the day using these mirrors to like take down the computer. Do you have any like really fun special memories of working on this episode in particular?
Well, there's a lot more kids involved in this one. So it was like a whole thing being on set there for sure. Um, and it was my second gig. So right after Goosebumps, I got the lead in an Are You Afraid of the Dark, which also felt pretty special because I think they were wrapping up all of these shows around my age. So around that age. So it was like, yeah, it was really special to be a part of them. With this one, we shot it in Montreal, and I remember just like how fun it was to travel to go beyond, film this and have a per diem and be held up in a hotel and the whole thing. It just felt really like glamorous, um, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, I just remember, I think this was like an interesting experience just being on set and noticing there's a lot of kid extras, and so you're always being watched, and like Yeah, it was as close as one can feel to like being a celebrity, when you're on set like that and there's the extras or people that are just there to fill in the background scenes and how they're just there's the eyes on you, right? And it's like you're not really allowed to talk to them, so you're kind of kept separate. It's such
Oh,
such a weird
you're dynamic.
dynamic that goes on set like that. And the cast is quickly swept away, and like they stay to themselves and so yeah, it's a weird energy in that sense. But um yeah, I mean this one there was a lot of like studio filming on set on location. So we were kind of bouncing around all over the place, which was also a new experience. Yeah, so just like a lot of new scenes. We moved really quickly with this one. Everyone did a great job. We worked really well together. And again, the whole like four kids in the trailer doing homework with a tutor kind of scene, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, nothing like super stands out with that one. I did get to keep wardrobe, which was great because I
Yeah,
liked what I
wow. Yeah.
wore. Um,
I would have loved to have kept one of those little, virtual pets. That would have been really fun. Not
I
that it
did
actually does anything, but yeah.
right. Well, as a souvenir, I never really like looked at it that way, but yeah, it would have been really neat now looking back to have those mementos of like being on set and um
You're
I
probably
did
not allowed to just take anything too. So, I mean,
no, I mean you
yeah.
could ask. Sometimes things are offered and you could always ask. Um, but oftentimes they might need them for like close-up shots that are done like after wrap, after the cast are, finished. So you never know when they might need things. So the props less, I feel you have the option to take. But I did do a Casio um electric diary commercial when they were like, the personal device was first like coming on the scene and you could text message people like if they were in proximity. Anyways, I got to take that home,
Oh,
which
cool.
was really cool. But I was the only one that had one, so
Well, you couldn't message anybody then with it, but
right.
still.
Well, my co-star in that one, her name was Nicole as well, and actually we ended up going to the School of the Arts together. But she was a dance major. She wasn't no longer in the industry. She was more dancing. But we did hang out for a little bit after with so we could play with her Casios. We had a few play dates.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember getting to take home, that was a special experience to take home that device. But other than that, on sets, like I don't really recall too much of souvenirs coming home with me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's usually the story that I hear that you're not really allowed to take home props because they need them perhaps or but yeah. But at least you got to keep some of your wardrobe. That's something, some memento.
Totally. Yeah, that was fun.
A lot of fun roles come later after this. So you were in a movie called Detention. I tried to find it. I really wanted to watch it before our interview. I couldn't find it, but I do notice Dolph Lundgren is in it.
Mhm.
I mean, do you have any? And actually, not even just him, but a lot of Canadian actors who had appeared on Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark? I think I saw like Sean Roberts was there, and quite a
Yeah.
few others. Do you have any? I mean, what was it like working with Dolph Lundgren? Do you have any memories of working with him?
Yeah, I mean, he was a nice guy. We didn't get too close. I did have some like more one-on-one scenes with him. But he was very professional and this was like this was my biggest like TV movie. Like this was the next step, right? So I remember we were doing a reading at a hotel. And so like everyone was in the boardroom of the hotel and we had the scripts and we're doing a live run of, the scenes and stuff. And I remember just being so nervous. It was like the first time like I had that experience and there were some names there that I recognized. So it felt, they're intimidating, of course. And
Were you a fan of Rocky at all? I mean, when you met Dolph Lundgren, were you
I
starstruck
had
in any way?
no, no, I wouldn't say I was, just that like I knew who he was and he was a famous actor. And here I was like, I think my mom was a bit more starstruck than me. So Yeah, she came to set. She was there all the time with me and for me through the whole career. She was the one that take me down for auditions. So yeah, she was always there, but she enjoyed meeting him and that and the Million Dollar Man with the other series I was in, The War Next Door.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah, I, I think it was an actor there. They call him the Million Dollar Man. He's from some show that my mom grew up watching or
Yeah,
something. And
yeah. Lee
very
Majors.
starstruck.
I'd probably
Yeah,
have to look it up, but yeah.
yeah,
Lee
yeah,
Majors, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, was there a point where you were starstruck by anybody you worked with?
Like I said, I felt honored and privileged to be working with different actors that I'd seen um, on television before. I wouldn't say like I was ever like starstruck um, per se, but just more impressed and like feeling like I need to bring my A game because I am working with people that have a lot of experience. So it definitely put the pressure on me. That's for sure.
And then, a few years later you're doing Degrassi, the next generation. This is I mean, the original was just such a huge show for younger people in Canada, and here you're doing this reboot. Was that a special thing for you to do? Were you a fan of the original?
I did grow up watching. I mean, I was a bit young, but yeah, in my 11, 12, 13, I was watching the show and I enjoyed it a lot. So to be a part of the reboot series felt really special. And I was in a couple episodes, which was great. At that point, my hair was blonde, so I feel like my hair was blonde, I think, before in detention as well. Or maybe it was blonde the whole time. But yeah, and so I just found as I got older and I was moving out of being like a little girl into a young woman, I was getting typecasted a lot into very specific characters, which you can't really go deep with those characters. There's a type of personality and they don't have a lot of depth usually. So I it kind of started to have me feel like, okay, how do I feel about the industry? Like, how do I feel about where I'm going and where would I like to see myself go? Um, and I think I was probably in my early 20s when I was maybe it was probably a couple years before I ended up leaving the industry. I was like, okay, I'm stuck. Something different. But obviously being on Degrassi, again, another honor to be in a show that was, so well received and so popular. And um, yeah, I enjoyed my time on set with them.
Right. And then so you felt like around this time maybe you don't want to continue acting, you don't want to be involved in this industry for very much longer. Was there like a time you actually came to that clear decision, or did it just kind of fizzle out on its own? Like how did you come to that point?
Yeah, there actually was a moment. So I ended up dyeing my hair my natural color. I went darker. And I got new headshots and I got a new agent and I was like, okay, I'm ready. Um, and I auditioned for Men with Brooms, a Canadian series. And I got really, really far in the auditioning process. It was down to me and another person for one of the lead roles. And I was like putting everything into this. So like this is comedic role. This is yeah, I'm not the character I've always played. I was like, really excited about a new possibility. And I got so, so, so close and I didn't get it. And it was just in that moment I was like, okay, well, I think I'm done. Like I was done I think before I even dyed my hair, but I felt like I needed to give myself the chance to reinvent in some fashion and like because it was all I knew, really. Like I was in the industry my whole life and I guess I identified pretty strongly with being an actor and the world around me identified really strongly with me being an actress and so I felt like okay, well, I guess I owe it to my career to try a different lens for myself. So yeah, I was just in that moment. I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna pull back, um, and just reevaluate and see if this is for me. And actually pulling out and I went traveling for a little bit, and yeah, I just started to discover different things about myself and unraveled the title. Um, and it felt actually really liberating. It felt really liberating for me. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. That's so good. And I mean, you were like you were saying, you were part of this industry for so long. I mean, I I didn't count the number of years. It's at least a decade, right? In TVs and movies, and these are your formative years.
Mhm.
And I have to imagine that even though you did call it quits in your early 20s, it must have had some lasting impact on you. Do you feel that it did?
Definitely. I cared way too much what other people thought. Really. It was like almost debilitating, especially in high school. Um, I would put people on pedestals. Like, you go into an audition room and they're just human beings sitting behind a table that have a job and a role to play. But, it's like you put so much power in their hands. Um, and so I guess I sort of internalized that in a way that anyone that sort of presented themselves with any sense of like authority, that I would like put them on a pedestal. And it was like a really obviously a subconscious performance. But I noticed that I would value what those people would say more than like what I believed. Um, and yeah, and then the people pleasing component, because you're on set and you just want to please, you want to do it right. Um, and you're being watched, you're being critiqued all the time. And then so there's that component that like stuck for a while. And then of course appearance, right? So I remember I was interviewed by some of the producers at Disney. So they came to Toronto and they wanted to see the top two um, boy and girl of each agency, and they wanted to interview them.
Oh, wow.
So we met in a hotel and like they had an interview with me, just asking me about myself and just getting an idea of my personality. And the only feedback I got from them was her eyebrows are too thin. So, and mind you, at the time they were very thin. They were very thin, so no, they were. But it just like it became this imprint of like, oh my God, my eyebrows they're too thin. And there was, times of me growing them out and then being on set. Like I have really curly hair and I'd have like this curl to my eyebrow and I remember makeup would have to come and like wax my eyebrows straight so it
I thought it
wouldn't
would be
curl.
like distracting or something. I don't know.
Well, when you have like such defined eyebrows, if there's a curl, like, on television, there's a level of perfection that they want to like portray out, right? So, anyways, yeah, distracting. Um, so, it just became this fixation. So there was little fixations that like I got stuck on that carried into my 20s and early 30s. And, you know, um, as you do soul searching and you like get challenged in these like insecurities, you grow through them, right? But I definitely would contribute my time in television to a lot of these things that I don't think my peers were exposed to in the same way.
Yeah, because when you are a teenager, I mean, you're already overly concerned about your appearance, about your identity. I mean, psychologists talk about this as being like such an important time for you to establish a lot of characteristics about yourself and personality traits, and to really find yourself during those teenage years. And in your case, and the case of other child actors, if you are in this industry, you're under the microscope for a lot of other people as well. So everything kind of gets enhanced in a way that maybe is not the best for people long term.
Definitely. I think it lands different for everyone in the industry too, right? Like what is your personality like already? And then it's, how do these experiences push up on those parts of you and flare up different parts? And, it's like everyone, some love it. It's so funny. when I just hear people like, I want to be on TV and oh, I want to be a star when I grow up and I want to do this. And it's like, wow, it's such a sought after career or just it's so glamorized, and it's really just a job like anything else. I mean, it is a unique world to be a part of, most definitely. There's a culture and there's a vibe and it's a lot of fun. But I think being in the industry really helped me to not fangirl over anything or anyone, like bands or actors. I would be like, oh, they're good or oh, they're cute, but I just never fangirled. Like I said, it was more admiration. But I didn't see them as like different so much just because I had an insider perspective of it, right? Funny story though. So, one of the casting agents I went to often as a child is now one of my clients.
Oh, that's amazing.
He attended one of my
Wow.
retreats, and I
Uh-huh.
was like saying her name over and over and over again in my head, and I'm like, why is that so familiar? And then it hit me, and I asked her, and she's like, oh yeah, I used to do casting at this location. I'm like, do you remember me? Because I don't go by my last name in like in my
Right.
world. Um, and so she's like, oh my goodness, no way. So I just saw the human, I got to connect with this person that was so intimidating at one point, and now like I just such a beautiful person, such a beautiful human, and not what I thought she was back then.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Not quite as
Fulfilling
intimidating.
moment, actually. Yeah, it's just like
Mhm.
a full circle moment of like, wow, the stories you tell when you're little, when you're a kid and then you grow up and you're like, geez, I caused myself a lot of pain and suffering. It was very unnecessary.
Do you feel like this experience of being a child actor during these formative years that has influenced the direction your life has taken since? I mean, you're doing meditation now. It feels as though, I mean, just as an outsider perspective who is just learning about all of this, that maybe you were motivated to seek meditation and these types of practices because of that experience of being under the microscope, being in your own head, um, and so forth. Am I onto something or no?
I think being in the world of television and then into my 20s, it had me really focused on that as a career. And so when it came to school and like what I wanted to study, I didn't put as much focus on that as maybe I would have if I didn't already have a career as a child. So I think what being in the industry enabled for me was to be an entrepreneur and also to lead myself authentically into what I was interested as opposed to like what I should do. Um, like I'm in an industry that might be a little bit more fringe. It's like not, most common. I host retreats. I work with, processing emotions, working with the body, the somatics, definitely in the healing arts, definitely a multimedia artist. So yeah, have unique and interesting ways to like present experiences to my community and help them learn and grow and understand themselves and connect to themselves. So I think it's made me a very unique person and okay with not following the norm because I never really fit with the norm. I was already isolated and kind of segregated from everybody else because I was on television. So I think ultimately it made me feel comfortable in that space so I could lead myself more authentically and be unique and be good with that. Yeah. So I think as far as what I got into, yeah, I there was a quest to repair,
Right.
to understand, and this is also my personality. Like I'm very inquisitive. I want to understand. I want to understand myself. I want to understand the world around me more. I lean into the metaphysical realm of things. Um, So it was a natural progression for me to follow my own healing and my own curiosity into the fields that I did. And then to be able to share that with other people feels really special. And I am in a public eye. Like people do follow me and people do, they come and they sit in circle with me and I do speak to groups and stuff, but it's very intimate and it's not recorded and it's not broadcasted. Which I can feel good with. But I think my years in television had given me the confidence to just be an authentic person, even if it makes them feel uncomfortable or they feel like jealous of that. I just can own myself a bit more unapologetically, I think, because of it. After you get over, the insecurities, it's like on the other side of that is like a really rooted sense of self and confidence that I can attest to that experience. So I am grateful. I'm grateful for all the hard things and the beautiful, empowering experiences too.
That's beautiful. Would you would if you could go back in time, I mean, you had these, perhaps a positive impact, also a negative impact of being a child actor on your young adulthood, but would you do it all again? Would you change anything?
Wait, do I get to go back and know what I know now?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I think I would go back. Yeah, I think I would go back with a lot more embodied confidence that I have now. Um,
But you would still do it again. You would still
I think I would.
pursue acting.
Yeah, and I think I would have gone further with it. I think I would have perhaps gotten into directing.
Mm.
Um, I did a lot of like short films with friends that I wrote and I
Oh,
directed.
that's
So
awesome. That's so
I
cool.
really preferred to be on the other side of the camera, and I loved the industry. Like I just loved being on set. It was really special. Um, So I think like yeah, if I was to go back, I would have stayed in it. Maybe I would have pursued being a director and gone through the ranks of that experience, or maybe like short films and just running my own thing. But yeah, no regrets, no regrets
Okay.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And looking back now, I mean, Goosebumps is still going strong. I mean, there's still new books being released. There's new TV series every few years or movies and so forth. I mean, how does it feel being like connected to this big monolithic thing that's still the people are still talking about it?
Yeah, like I said, I've really disconnected from that world. I don't really watch like a lot of TV. I mean, we all have Netflix, we all have these things. Um, but yeah, I guess I kind of like the pendulum swung for me in my life, and I really lived close to nature. And, I'm not really, I don't really look at it that way. Like, to be honest, it's like it was a life that I lived, and it brought me to where I am now, but I don't really reflect on it in that way. You bringing it up and actually emailing me and being like, "Do you want to do this?" I was like, "Whoa." I was like,
A little
"What is this?"
disorienting. Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild to revisit. Um, and yeah, you're having me reflect on a part of my life that again, I don't often reflect on. So, um, yeah, I mean, I knew it was still going because I was getting residual checks from Actra. Oh, Goosebumps is still going. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
that's cool. And then, of course, my kids, finding it and or wanting to watch it and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel really, um, I feel blessed to have been given the experiences that I've had, and then to be connected to some really, like you said, big shows that are still going and that our generation still like talk about and love and had a lot of like a big impact on our generation. Like we didn't have a lot we were exposed to, so it's like these shows were a lot for us. And to have been like to be marked in those moments in time feels, yeah, it does feel like an honor.
So
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the experience was like firsthand, obviously, for child actors, but being a kid and being on like the other side of the screen, a lot of kids are being bullied in school, they're stressed about grades, maybe there's some instability in their home lives. And shows like Goosebumps, like Are You Afraid of the Dark, they give us something to look forward to, right? At the end of the school day, on the weekends. And I think it, brought us just so much joy in our childhoods, and we really needed it at that time. And
Mm.
now that we're getting older, it's like we need it again. So we go back and watch the things that we grew up with and get those same positive feelings again. And stories are just so important in that way. And part of the enjoyment comes from connecting with the characters.
Mm.
And I think that it's tough to really make something that's going to resonate with young audiences if you don't have young child actors around the same age as the center of those stories.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish there was a way. I mean, it sounds like you still really enjoyed yourself, didn't have any big regrets, but
Yeah.
I wish there was a way that it could be done without there being like negative impacts on self-esteem or body image and the
Mhm.
kinds of things that child actors have to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely what keeps my kids out of the industry, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. At the end of the day, but I think there are some very resilient children that like get in the industry and they make it through unscathed. I wouldn't say it's the, most common, but it does happen. It does happen. Um, but yeah. And I mean, I hate to say it, but I think with AI and all the things coming, like
Who knows? Yeah.
happening where there isn't actually any children on set. It's
Could
yeah,
happen. Yeah, it could definitely happen. And children seem to be less like concerned about the implications, of course, of looking at something that's AI because they don't understand how it could potentially be problematic and so forth. They just want entertainment.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to end things off here. You've been so generous with your time. I want to say that, uh, you know, piggybacking on what I was saying before about how it's just so important to be watching stories that center on kids when you are a kid.
Mhm.
You in particular were just so good in this episode, and it really touched on a lot of emotions, and it was just such a special episode. And I'm grateful that you were the one picked for this, and yeah, so thank you for all of your contributions. Yeah, and in the Goosebumps episode and all the other projects you've been a part of, it's just really special to kids. And now that we're adults, it's like still getting joy from it. So
Wow. Well, Jared, thank you.
of course,
Thanks.
yeah.
Like it's so interesting being acknowledged in this way. I don't think I ever really looked at it that through that lens, and definitely never felt like appreciated either
Oh, well, you
for
should. You should. I
job,
mean,
right? Like,
yeah. I mean, if you ever
yeah.
have a chance, you should just look up if you ever need like a confidence boost or something, you can go to YouTube and see what all the commenters are saying. They all love this episode. They all love you in it.
Yeah.
Um, and I know it might not be your kind of thing, but there are Goosebumps actors now like going to conventions, meeting fans, and fans are just
Oh,
so excited. Yeah, yeah. So
wow.
that world is out there. That fan base is still there.
That's good to know. Yeah. Thank you.
Do you have anything you want to touch upon before we close things off here?
Um, no, I think I'm just really grateful that you reached out and that I said yes.
Yeah, me too, of course.
Because I
Yeah.
definitely wasn't sure how I was gonna navigate that. But it feels like a really therapeutic, um, full circle experience for me to just acknowledge a part of my life. And then yeah, to be appreciated for it. Uh, it's been enjoyable. So thank you.
This has been an episode of the 90s Kid Library podcast. A special thanks to the Rallies for providing the music. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also learn about this episode and future episodes by following me, 90s Kid Library, on Instagram. Until then, this is Jared Goodman reminding you that you are all that and a bag of chips. Peace out.